And we begin tonight with new developments in the U.S. immigration overhaul under President Trump, with deportation flights under the new administration now underway. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, Mark Curtis has the night off. Guatemalan officials say that they received 3 planes from the U.S., one of which came from Arizona. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono is live in studio with us. And Bianca, have these flights happened before?
Yeah, Caribe, deportation flights are not new. In fact, we have seen ICE flights fly right out of Mesa Gateway, but typically we see charter or commercial planes being used. Now, military planes are conducting these operations. Promises made, promises kept, wrote the chief patrol agent of Border Patrol's Tucson sector, referring to a deportation flight that left from Tucson International Airport Thursday night. Unlike previous deportation flights out of Arizona, which have used charter or commercial planes, a U.S. military C-17 plane was used. It flew to Guatemala, carrying 80 illegal immigrants.
We're getting the bad, hard criminals out. These are murderers. These are people that have been as bad as you get.
CBP officials not yet providing details about who exactly those 80 people on board were. And it wasn't the only flight. Guatemalan officials say there were 2 additional deportation flights into their country, providing video and photos from their reception, totaling about 265 people. According to the Guatemalan Migration Institute, on one of the flights from Texas, there were 31 women, 48 men, and 1 unaccompanied minor. Officials say they provided them all with food, clothing, and shelter. NBC News reporting an additional flight was supposed to land in Mexico, but Mexican officials denied the U.S. military plane access. Despite the refusal, the country has been preparing for possible mass deportations in the U.S., launching a campaign for Mexican nationals called Mexico Embraces You. On Tuesday, 12 News getting a first look at one of the many migrant shelters being prepared south of the border. This one at a sporting complex in Nogales, Sonora, equipped to assist close to 3,000 people. And CBP officials tell me they saw a 35% reduction in apprehensions across the southwest border in the first 2 days of the Trump administration. As for ICE, they say they made 593 arrests today. That's nearly double the daily average from last year. We're live in studio. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you. Now to Washington, D.C., where Pete Hegseth has been confirmed as the new United States Defense Secretary. The decision came by a very narrow margin in the Republican-controlled Senate. The vote was split right down the middle, 50-50, with 3 Republicans, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins, joining all 47 Democrats in voting no. The tie-breaking vote came from new Vice President J.D. Vance. Hegseth faced a slew of misconduct allegations during the confirmation process, including sexual assault and alcohol abuse, but he has denied all of the allegations. He is set to be sworn in tomorrow morning. Back here at home, Surprise police have arrested a suspect in connection to a stabbing at Uptown Alley. This is near Litchfield and Waddell Roads. Police say that it all started around 4 p.m. when a fight broke out. The suspect ran away and then stabbed a bystander who had tried to detain them. That person went to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. Police were eventually able to track down the suspect and bring them into custody, although they have yet to be identified. New at 10, some shocking video from a road rage incident last week that was all caught on camera. According to court documents, 34-year-old Mark Viscano was arrested for pulling out a gun and pointing it at another driver. Now, that driver was Vince Manuel of Surprise, who says that he was cut off while merging onto the freeway. He then noticed that the passenger of the other car was pointing a gun right at him. You can see it there. Now, authorities were able to use face recognition software to identify the passenger as Viscano. However, Manuel says that he still doesn't feel safe.
I'm more fear of this happening to someone else. I mean, obviously, it is terrifying knowing I can now be a target, but I'm just really hoping that eventually justice is served with whatever his sentence is and that something like this doesn't happen again.
Now, Manuel says that he is glad that his video was able to help investigators identify the suspect. Now to a West Valley school district that is on the verge of closing because it ran out of money. Tonight, the district still isn't any closer to finding a solution. Right now, there is a back and forth between the state and Maricopa County on who needs to take action to ensure that teachers are getting paid on time. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is hearing from both sides tonight as time is really running out, Chase.
Grebe, we also learned the financial hole the district has dug for itself, all because of money mismanagement is much higher than what we were previously told just a few days ago. The county claims the district overspent $28 million, and that number just keeps growing. It's a question everyone is asking.
What's going to happen next week?
Especially from those caught in the middle of the financial fiasco Isaac School District leaders created themselves, overspending millions of dollars with money they didn't have. A financial crisis unlike any other seen before in Arizona.
We need to connect the dots.
A group of parents and teachers gathered Friday night to discuss their options, knowing there is a very real possibility this upcoming Tuesday, when about 600 teachers are supposed to be paid, there won't be any money to give them, meaning 6,000 students will have to get their education somewhere else.
We need elected officials to do their damn jobs.
It's created a blame game between Maricopa County and the state of who needs to take action.
We just need some adults in the room.
Arizona Attorney General Chris May speaking with 12 News journalist Bram Resnick on Sunday Square Off about the mess.
All we need is for the county, or the legislature for that matter, and the governor to step up and continue to provide funding.
Governor Katie Hobbs said she's looking into what her office can do less than 24 hours after calling on the County Board of Supervisors to provide funding to the district.
I've directed my staff to work with the Department of Education, with the district, on what we can do for a solution.
I think they're passing the buck.
Chairman Thomas Galvin for the County Board of Supervisors says this is an issue for Hobbs and the legislature to solve, claiming the county has no jurisdiction when it comes to education.
It would be illegal for us to enter this fight. But what we want to do is see a resolution.
Galvin believes Hobbs needs to call a special session as soon as possible. In the meantime, Republican Representative Matt Gress says members need to be working around the clock to get that funding.
We need to make payroll next Tuesday. So I'm directing our attorneys to draft legislation to facilitate that.
He estimates about $8 million could get the district through a month.
We're hoping to have some language this weekend that we can all review and get a strong bipartisan vote.
Hoping that vote will happen Monday, because if not, that worst case scenario could become a reality. Now, Representative Gress also told me once they figure out this current issue and get those teachers paid by this Tuesday, the state legislature really needs to take on a full investigation into how the district got into this mess in the first place. Now, Mays also told us that at this time, there appears to be no sign of embezzlement or anything in that regard. And again, this really just comes down to bad money management. We're live in the newsroom. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, and unfortunately, that school district, not the only one dealing with problems. Yet another Valley school district announced this week that they're considering closing 2 of their schools. Phoenix Elementary School District says that they're facing a budget deficit and are proposing closing the Dunbar and the Hurd schools at the end of the school year. This comes as the Roosevelt Elementary School District announced last month that it would close 5 schools. School closures are also on the table in Cave Creek, and they happened last year in Paradise Valley. Like many other districts, Phoenix Elementary says that they've seen a 29% drop in enrollment.
We have to make difficult decisions so that the past 153 years, the legacy of the people who came before us, can continue to make sure that we are thriving and able to provide programming for our students, that we're able to attract high-quality staff to our district, and to make sure that our children are getting the very best academic and enrichment programs so that they can succeed in high school and beyond.
Next month, the district will hold public hearings on school closures before voting on the proposal. They are scheduled for February 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, and the 25th.